Plan your work the plan, and the plan will work. I think I said that right. That was a nice little cheesy saying that my father-in-law told me about 5-6 years ago when I was just a young 24, 23-year-old starting my own business. Also, I was going into full-time ministry. And I had a lot of big dreams I wanted to accomplish, whether it was just being an effective worship leader or building Churchfront. And something that's so crucial to doing that well is making a plan. And today, there are more tools than we could ever want or desire available to us to execute a plan effectively and to get the week-to-week done in worship ministry. And that's what we're going to chat about in the first segment of the Churchfront show today. So it's great to have you guys here. If you're on the live stream on YouTube, thanks for joining us. If you're listening to the podcast, thanks for joining us. And today, we are joined by Jimmy from Hey Worship Leader. It's almost like Jimmy from Mr. Beast or something. So I don't know. It's kind of
That's right.
we'll talk probably some YouTube stuff today, but not Jimmy Donaldson. What's your last name, Jimmy? I totally did not catch that.
That's no problem. Jimmy Cooper.
Awesome.
I have a few less subscribers.
A few, well, dude, but your channel though, it's on its way, man. I love the content you're creating. Check out Hey Worship Leader on YouTube, guys. Especially you're making lots of videos about like the Helix. I feel like that's kind of like one of the big areas you cover. The HX Stomp, it's an amazing tool. But go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners. Like, who are you? Where are you? What are you up to?
Yeah, well, I'm Jimmy Cooper. I'm located in North Carolina, the Raleigh area. I'm a worship leader in a local church, been a worship leader for around 16 years, and I really have a passion for pouring into people. And so at my local church, we've just had we're near a seminary, and so I've had a lot of guys come through who have a heart for pastoral ministry and worship ministry, and so I've been able to pour into them. I started doing some workshops, and then a little over a year ago, I thought, man, I would love to broaden this and get this out. I know there's a lot of people who would benefit that don't have the ability to just be in this area. They don't have access to help. They don't have a coach. And so I wanted to start offering some of that and putting content out on YouTube, and started Hey Worship Leader with that in mind, helping people to, helping worship leaders pastor their people and lead their teams well, and then any kind of gear that I can do, which is mainly guitar stuff. I've been playing electric guitar for years, and so that's kind of my niche.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, what's been your favorite part about the YouTube grind? Because I know it's a grind, and putting out videos consistently, but what's brought you the greatest joy about it? Is it doing the filmmaking? Is it the audience kind of interacting with folks, helping people all over the world? How's that been going?
Yeah, actually, those two things is what comes to mind. The first part was the filmmaking. I've always wanted to get into that. I remember I shared in one of my videos where I remember watching the behind the scenes of The Lion King, and they described the dolly zoom when Simba realizes that his dad just died, and they do that dolly zoom effect, and I was like, I gotta learn how to do that, And so I've always had an interest in cinematography or whatever, and I'm no pro, but just getting to understand cameras and doing some B-roll and all that stuff, learning how to edit. Finally got Final Cut Pro this year. Just YouTube kind of makes you start off, and you gotta learn this stuff, and I enjoy it. And then like you said, the personal interaction with people that I'm just blown away to get to meet. I just never thought I would have the chance to meet some of these people and hear some of these amazing stories and be able to at least have an impact in people's lives I never imagined. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, dude, tell us more about your passion for the more planning, administrative side of worship ministry. Why is that? When did you realize, or how did you come to the realization of man, this is important to have good plans and systems in place to be able to execute my ministry well? Why don't you just let the Spirit lead and just sporadically come up with a plan and a service flow 5 minutes before Sunday morning service and go that route instead?
Right. Oh man, yeah, I think it's probably the way I'm wired because I'm not wired that way. And I see how, man, there's a lot of really good musicians, artists in worship ministry, and their biggest probably downside is that they're not balanced in that area. They don't know how to do the admin side. They don't know how to plan, And when I was younger, I was kind of that way. I remember thinking about emails and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do all this stuff. I don't want to adult right now. But
Hmm.
to have an effective ministry, you have to. And I really value a connection with like my team, that personal connection. And I think communication skills, being organized, respects other people. It respects your team, it respects your church. It just shows a sense of honor that you have for those people. And I think it's just the way I'm wired. And I know some people aren't wired that way. And so if they can be pushed towards that, it can help round them out. And I think that's where my passion comes from, because I've seen it too many times where, I was under people that I just wished were a little more organized. I wish they had that side, because I felt like they didn't care when they weren't organized. And I never want my team to feel that way. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that was just like, and for me, what I was talking about when we started the show, it's just like, I just knew when you have a lot of big dreams and goals and really want to move things forward, you realize there's a lot of tasks that start lining up. There's a lot of stuff that just has to get done, and you have to make a plan and execute that. And I feel like I drift in and out of like good discipline in this area, because I do like looking at my calendar and seeing like an empty day and not very many appointments. But then I have, instead of just being like, oh, I'll just kind of let myself do whatever, I feel like doing. Often doesn't result in very good progress in these areas, whether it's ministry, whether it's Churchfront work that we're doing. So instead, it's like, I've been using tools like Asana, the calendar, planning center for like just really mapping out a plan. And like, that's when I make the best progress I know in my own life too. So I'm pretty passionate about this. We're helping a lot of worship leaders with this as well. Tell us about this unique tool you've created, the digital worship planner, because I think it does kind of fit this unique, like, it fills this kind of unique gap. You explain this pretty well in one of your YouTube videos about it, but go ahead and kind of explain kind of the story behind that, why you came up with it, and then we'll kind of take a look at what it looks like here with Adam. Adam's actually got it pulled up here, so I'll go ahead and bring Adam up, and you can go ahead and start chatting about this, Jimmy.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you actually kind of led into it, like talking about, I love organization. I love, being organized, coming up with a plan, but I don't always do that well. And so I made this planner for me as a tool. I was like, I want something that I can use to keep me on track, to keep me focused, to let me know what I need to be working on each week. I'm a list type person, or when I see things I got to do, that helps keep me on track. When I see a big wide open day, and I know not everybody's wired this way, but when I see a big wide open day, I might tend to waste it or get to work real heavily on stuff that really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And so I created the worship planner for me to keep me on track with things I knew I wanted to do. It just gives me prompts on the things I mentioned that I value, which is like pastoring my people, leading my teams. And then I put prompts in there that places that I want to get better at, which is staying creative and having goals and doing like practical goals. So I have all these tabs at the top. We screen shared some of it. I have it here. I know people can't really see it, but there's tabs along the top that are interactive, and I've been using it this week. You can see I have chicken scratch all over it. And whether it's my call to worship moments throughout the month, planning those things ahead, planning ahead what I'm going to be talking about, or even writing down like people I need to connect with this week. And I'll say one more thing. Another reason that I came up with this is because tools like you mentioned, like Planning Center, are really good. You can use matrix mode and drag and drop songs and think, but there's been times where, accidentally I was drag and dropping different songs as I was trying to dream up set list and when I want to introduce certain songs, and accidentally leave something in there. And I thought, it'd be good to have a place to just be able to dream, to be able to think about what I want to do without actually putting it in the plan. Planning Center is kind of one of those things where that's where you got to be very detailed, and we try to keep it as clean as possible and put things in there correctly. And I was like, I just need somewhere to have my songs and be able to plan set lists ideas before I get it in the plan. And so that was another reason I thought, this is something that I would use. And then I just thought, man, I could make this and share it. I was actually on some YouTube growth channels. We talked about YouTube. I've watched a lot of different things, and I saw this channel that I was like, I wouldn't be, it's not a worship leading channel.
Which one is it? Was it like Think Media or something? What was it?
It wasn't even that. I think she actually just changed her name. It was Hey Jessica, which is funny because I'm Hey Worship Leader, and I did not copy her. But and then she just changed it to Jessica Stansberry, I think is her last name. And
okay.
She actually lives in North Carolina over Western Carolina, but she has a digital planner, and I was like, man, that's awesome. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd love to do something like this for my niche. We're not even in the same realm. And so they gave me some tips, and I just spent a lot of time learning how to actually create it to work on an iPad and to get it working. And yeah, so then I thought I would share it with my crew, and it's kind of been a hit. A lot of people are enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how you're kind of trying to blend the benefits of the analog handwritten world with the digital world, because I've tried, I've gotten the paper planners before, and I kind of just kind of fail at those all the time. Because it's paper and it gets messy and I lose track of it. But I also don't I'm just not an iPad guy. I don't really use iPads much for stuff, but I feel like that's a really great use case of that would encourage me to use it more regularly. And I think there is something special about the handwritten way of brainstorming, planning. Planning center can kind of feel so kind of rigid in a certain way of the layouts, which is helpful, I think, when you're trying to coordinate a team and executing a service. But it's like something about sitting down with a pad of paper and a pen, in this case, a stylus and a tablet, that I think just kind of helps you kind of just think more creatively, or maybe be more focused on the actual planning process, because I think we underestimate the value. Sometimes it feels like when you sit down with a planner, you're wasting time. You're not getting much done. But I think that 5 to 10 minutes a day to make sure you have a clear plan for the whole day, that's actually going to save you a ton of time. You're going to get so much more done because you have a plan, rather than just kind of wandering around and letting distractions come up. So yeah, man. Well, that's awesome. I love that. Love that resource for the church. And guys, go check it out. We're going to link his website below. I'm guessing, can they just find it on heyworshipleader.com?
Yeah, I mean, it's right there on the front page. If they go to the store, you can see there's 2 big tabs under my shop at the top. Does it say store? Yeah, store. You can go the HX Stomp route or the planners route. I have a couple versions in there. There's also a notebook that I use. It's there's no prompts in there. It's just kind of blank open pages. But I use that, and I actually have a bundle, the one all the way to the left hand of the screen. Actually, there's a little bundle sale where you get both, save a few bucks if you want. So yeah, I've been using both in conjunction with one another.
Oh, you do have a paper version though. Is that what I'm seeing? Or what do you mean by notebook?
No. Oh, sorry. It's just called the Worship Leader Notebook. It's the same thing as the planner. In theory. It's just a lot more simple. It's just blank pages just to get your thoughts down, and still, like you said, I mean, I'm usually been doing this kind of stuff on Google Docs or something with my set list or whatever, but just that handwritten, I just wanted a place where I could handwrite, but paper is not the option for me. I always lose them and it gets messy, like you said. So
dude, what if you did, is there a way to make, I know I just said I'm not a huge fan of paper books, but at the same time, they are kind of nice. I mean, is there a way for you to make it a paper version?
So yeah, I'm glad you said that. So if somebody doesn't have an iPad, what comes in the file when you purchase it is just a PDF version that they could print.
Okay.
It's just a PDF version of the planner itself. So it still will have the tabs on it. I haven't made one where it's just the paper format, but I have something coming in the works soon. That should replace that. But yeah, you do, if you don't have an iPad, you're like, oh, I don't have an iPad. You could use it on your desktop. You could still print the PDFs out if you wanted to. But if you have an iPad with the GoodNotes app, there's a couple, I think there's an Android version as well. I have all that listed on the website. That's the most interactive part, where you can actually, the tabs are interactive. It's pretty inexpensive to get into. This is actually not an Apple Pencil. This is a knockoff that works really well. I share that in some of my videos. I have a link to that. And this is just the cheapest iPad. It's not the Pro or anything, and it works great.
Yeah, and you said you put one of those like textured screen protectors on your iPad for like make it feel like paper.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different brands. There's one called Paper-like. This one I found on Amazon. I think I link it down there. And yeah, it just makes it feel more like paper rather than writing on glass. Because that's one of the things I didn't really enjoy, was feeling like I was writing on a piece of glass. Because I'm an artist as well, or I used to be. I still love to draw. So kind of the tactile feel of how this feels was important for me. So yeah, I like to feel like I'm writing on paper.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Sure.
I know, speaking of planning, one of the biggest tips I've came across, and this is kind of, again, what I like about your system, a couple of years ago, I think Donald Miller, he's with like StoryBrand, and he's a famous author, but he's all about like business and productivity stuff. And he had like a similar like planning sheet you could download. And his big thing was like, pick just 3 things to accomplish a day, like, and that's it. Like, don't try to do more. And just, if you can accomplish like 3 projects that take maybe 2 hours each or something like that, you should have, and then you'll have plenty of like kind of wiggle room there. If one of them takes a little bit longer, then that's all you need. So I would recommend guys that's why it's important to kind of like sit down at the beginning of the week, list out what are all the things I have to get done, for a weekly project, long-term project, and then you just got to start piecing it together, break it down to like a simple task that you have to get done per day. And then, sometimes you can also block using calendar blocking. That's another big thing, right? Adam, we talk about that a lot in their Systems for Success course. Sorry, I lost it, Adam. I'll bring it back. Awesome. We talk about that a lot. There's Carey Nieuwhof's High Impact Leadership course that I went through. That was really helpful. Any other tidbits you want to share on the planning, Adam? I know this is right up your alley.
Yeah. I think what you said is right. Yeah. Just picking things that are, you can just knock out, and not having some giant to-do list. I get really intimidated. I love lists too, Jimmy, but when I sit down and I put like 20 things on a list for one day, it's like overwhelming. And really, it's like prioritization is kind of a big piece of it, deciding this needs to happen today. And that's what helps me with the handwriting thing. Like lately I've been using a notebook, and I'll just like write today's date and be like, here's my top 3 things that got to happen. And I just like focus on those. And then all the emails and, buying of MP3s and chart and chords, like all that stuff, I have time for it. But the other things that are most important get done right away, because I'm not messing around just thinking about all the stuff that has to happen in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, cool. Well, guys, I think that wraps up the first segment of the show today around planning. So go ahead, check out those resources that we've got down below there, Jimmy's website, his YouTube channel. And yeah, go pick up a copy for yourself. And I want to mention our sponsors for today's video or live stream. It's always kind of funny. It's like our sponsors is us, Worship Ministry School. Go to worshipministryschool.com if you guys would like our team's help in really just whether it's worship tech. We come alongside you in our coaching program. It's a 12-week coaching program. You get online courses. You also get unlimited access to our coaching team, which does consist of myself, Adam, we've got Luke Jackson. We have a lot of fun. We've got students from all over the world, and we've got a great tight-knit community there in the Worship Ministry School Facebook group. We're all helping each other out. But most importantly, we're just really helping each other achieve really tangible progress in our worship ministry. So whether that is building a live streaming infrastructure from the ground up, or maybe helping you upgrade that. We also have folks joining who are focusing more on the pastoral side of worship ministry as well. So go check out worshipministryschool.com, apply to get on a free strategy session today. So that's a word from our sponsors, us. So it's great to Yeah, so this next segment of the show, let's go, Adam, to some of these Facebook threads that we had here. So, guys, we've got a Churchfront Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, you should be. Lots of great conversations going on there. And one of some of the posts that we've seen here, let's talk about the one we saw. It's actually kind of a good continuation of what we do at Worship Ministry School, but this is a post that someone brought up about how overwhelming it can feel when your leadership requests like a tech upgrade and you just don't know what to begin. So I don't know, did you find that post, Adam, or do you just want to pull up the screenshot for it? It was like this. Yeah. Oh, actually, I've got it right here. Let me just, I forget. I can do my screen as well. Jake's screen. All right. So right here, this post that was by Jason Bennett. Does anyone else get anxious about suggesting worship tech upgrades that their leadership asks for? I mean, there are just so many variables, and it's such an investment. And this is one of the both exciting and intimidating things about worship ministry, especially right now in this day and age where leaders are coming to their worship pastors and being like, hey, build us a whole broadcast system. And for worship pastors, we're like, where do I begin? Because it's like, again, it's one of those exciting yet overwhelming responsibilities we usually have. The worship leader, worship pastor is usually the primary creative person at the church to take care of this stuff. Sometimes though, you do have tech director as well who can, but again, it's like there's a difference between knowing how to oversee maybe mixing audio, running your presentation, stuff like that, and then the whole live streaming element just takes on a whole other level of complexity. So Adam, you should pull up our worship ministry toolkit as well while we're talking about this, because that I think is it's been one of the most helpful resources for thousands and thousands of churches out there. If you guys have not downloaded that yet, you're really missing out. And Adam, I think one thing I want to do with that toolkit more is kind of come up with put some more bundled packages in it, because I think that's one way we can really help folks out here. We have different tabs for, do you have it pulled up yet? Let me go ahead and,
yeah, my computer's dogging.
Okay. Cause we have, yeah, bro, get it M1. Okay. So there we go. There's Adam's screen. So here's the toolkit. And we have all sorts of tabs in it. Adam's kind of like a Excel spreadsheet ninja. But maybe within each tab, we kind of come up with bundles to kind of quickly give leaders references of okay, if you have less than $2,000, here's a good live streaming bundle. If you have $8,000, here's a good bundle. If you have $20,000, here's a good bundle. So Adam, that's just something I've been meaning to tell you, and I'll just tell you right now. We should do that because it's not always helpful. It's helpful that we have all the gear listed out here. Go to the live streaming one, Adam. So we got recommended cameras and stuff like that, but it's it can still be overwhelming knowing which of these camera options, which ones should I actually go with? And when I start adding it up, what's it going to cost? So you guys should definitely check out the toolkit for a good starting point. And we're going to keep updating it. That's why we didn't make this toolkit a PDF that you downloaded, because then when you download it, it's going to be out of date probably 2 days from now. No, that's an old link, Adam. Tell them go to, the link is in the description of this video. I guess that'll work too. Dude, we have so many landing pages out there that I don't even know. I think it's worshipministryschool.com/toolkit. It's in the description of the YouTube video if you guys want to go download that right now. But I don't know, Adam, what are your thoughts, man? So in terms of what Jason said here, people getting anxious about having a good plan to be able to execute when their pastors ask them to do this. And same thing with you, Jimmy. You can feel free to chime in, man, what your journey's been going along with this stuff.
Yeah. For me, I think we started with the vision. That was the number one thing, was making sure I knew I was in communication with my pastor. I knew what we wanted to do as far as like our goals. And so Jimmy even talked about this in the planner video, as he was talking more about the less like practical and the more, I guess, theological. I don't know. The mindset stuff of it is just knowing, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what our church needs. This is what would serve our church best. There's not just like 3 options that it's like, here's 1, 2, or 3. It's going to fit. It's so customizable. So for us, it was like, yeah, DSLRs would be cool, but I think it'd be better for us to do the PTZ route so that we could have one person control all the cameras at once. And where we are and our people, they aren't like overly concerned with depths of field or cinematic looks. It just wasn't worth the extra manpower and the extra money to make that happen. So that was one big decision. It was like more of a vision piece. It wasn't just like 1 or 2. It was like, what do we want to do? What's best for us? That's the decision to go with. So, yeah, I think overall that's the approach I like to take.
Jimmy, did you guys do like a ton of upgrades in the past year as well?
Yeah, we're in the same boat as everyone else. I'm in an amazing position where I have an on-staff production guy that works. So getting into when I first came to the church, he was actually my associate worship leader. And I was like, man, I can't be on stage and in the booth at the same time. It's not what I'm used to. And that's not really my area of expertise, although I try to learn as much as I can. And so his name's Daniel, and he's done a great job at heading that up. But for us, it started with the vision piece too. Before we even decided on gear, I think it was more of like, where do we want this to go? And we're not in a place where we want to like provide live stream forever. This was more for just our not our visitors, for our members who can't get out, don't need to get out, people who are during COVID just having issues where they need to stay home, much like myself. I have some stuff too. I had a transplant. I shared that on my channel and stuff. So that was on our mind to provide something for our members. And that was the most important thing. So spending the right amount to provide what we can, but not think that this is something that we're going to do forever. But we really needed to make some upgrades, and it looks amazing. I don't know all the details of all the cameras. I know they're not DSLRs. They're more something else.
Like, are they?
I don't have all the details on that.
Are they like cinema cameras? Let's see if I can guess. What's your church's name again?
Open Door Church in Raleigh.
Open Door
Life NC.
Raleigh.
Or opendoorlife.com.
Okay, I'm gonna find it. We're gonna pull up your stream, and
here's the thing is we don't even. Let's see. You might be able to find it on there. We do a YouTube. We stream straight to YouTube, I think.
Oh, okay.
All my production guys are like, oh, Jimmy, he doesn't know.
Let's see here. It's gonna be funny. Let's go. Okay, so I've got it right here. Let's see. Ecamm. Or did you have it, Adam? I can't remember. Did you?
I can find it.
Well, here. You're always better. It's hard to pilot Ecamm live here and try to find stuff. So let me see if I can find. I've got it now. Too late, Adam. Too late. Is it this one, Jimmy?
Yeah. So this is from a conference just last night. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, okay. Just looking at the different. Where's the band? I want to see the band. What's going on?
I don't think they put they leave the band on there, and then they take it out after. Well, how about that first one? It's like an hour long. That first one.
That was the conference. Is
that the one you were?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know they take the music out after like Monday, and they re-edit it and just keep the sermon on there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So if you go on there, yeah.
That brings up a good question, like how churches kind of decide what they want to keep up or not. Like what we do at Mission Lakewood is we do both. So if you go to our channel, you go to, like, you'll see full Sunday service message, full Sunday service message. And like, I don't know, realistically, are people ever going to come back through and watch a full service from like 3 months ago? Probably not, but I don't know. It's kind of a nice, like, I think it's a nice option for them to have to go back and watch it. Adam, what are you guys? Well, you guys aren't even doing true live streaming right now, right, Adam?
No, we're just I'm piecing it together. Like during
Okay.
the week, I'll record the band, record the sermon, announcements, all that stuff. So everything right now is mostly shot, not this past Sunday, but mostly shot on my GH5.
Yeah, because I think I was kind of inspired by what Bethel was doing, where this is like actually literally where I got the idea, because I was like, how does Bethel like manage their YouTube library? And I know eventually things they do go to just stay in Bethel TV, I think, but yeah, because you can see, those are like clips or something, but it seems like for at least a week or two, they have the full service, or maybe just a week, they keep the full service up, and then they have the sermon. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of get more data on like what people actually, how people like arranging that. So, cool.
Hey, I figured out the cameras we have.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Canon XA40.
Yep. I would have guessed camcorder by the lack of dynamic range in that image. No judgment, but just saying.
No judgment. Probably just fit our budget better. I don't know.
Oh, here's a funny one. Man, we get so many like unsolicited advice through like our email support tickets and stuff here at Churchfront. So feel free, guys, like send along some unsolicited advice through our form, and we'll just usually, we'll probably chuckle at some of it. But one person was like, I almost want to find it and just show you guys exactly what he said. But he's like, hey, Jake, really find most of your stuff helpful, but I feel like it's really biased against when it comes to your camera selection. Like you only suggest cameras that are like mirrorless, DSLR with larger sensors, interchangeable lenses. I guess that's biased. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm biased. I feel like I just have a good taste in like image quality. And the person's like, you don't need you can use like, the PTZ cameras or the camcorders. They just need more light, right? Like you just need to make it like super bright in the room for the cameras to perform well. So the problem is, it's like if you care about the aesthetic, stage design, lighting design, and how that's going to come across with camera, like you can't use this camera with a small sensor like a PTZ camera. Like it's fine. Like and this is what Adam was talking about. It's like as a church, you have to establish clarity around like what style are we going for? Like when the viewers are watching, like do we want to have maybe a more traditional television look where everything's very well lit and bright and like a sitcom, or do we want to have a more cinematic look, have more control over aesthetic, lighting, color, dynamic range, dynamics, all that stuff. And then yeah, you got to get the right cameras for that. But it's just funny. Like it just reminded me of a random ticket that came in that says like, you're biased. It's like, no, it's just like we have a particular style that just looks better. And it's like, yeah, you can compensate with adding more light to the image, but it's still a camcorder is going to look like a camcorder. A PTZ optics camera, it's going to look like a PTZ optics camera. Like it's just like it's just the way it is. So I just had to get that out there, guys.
Just gotta get it off your chest.
Talking about people's feedback here. Kevin posted in the chat asking if you had any recommendations for alternatives for PTZ cameras, ways to remotely do pan, tilt, and zoom on DSLRs. Do you have anything to say for that, Jake?
You don't need to remotely pan, tilt, or zoom on DSLRs. That's my feedback. I'm like, because here's the thing, like I believe one of the better setups is I rather have better image quality, so I'm gonna get a mirrorless camera or cinema camera. Blackmagic Pocket 6K, 4K, GH5, probably my favorite go-to cameras for this. And in 99.999% of church settings, you just need like one camera operator to run your primary follow cam. That's either going to be on your pastor, or is either going to be on your worship leader or MC, whoever's kind of leading the service, right? And then instead of getting, because you could, to answer his question, you could get a GH5 or a Pocket 6K and put it on a gimbal mount, like get a DJI Ronin gimbal mount or whatever. But it's just like, to me, it's just such a waste of money. It's not worth it. Like, I would rather get, for the price, I would rather get another camera and then have it stationary somewhere and just have another angle to cut to when I want. So like, I really think the robotic movement of cameras, unless if you're doing like what Life Church is doing, it's funny because they have like the ultimate PTZ cameras, right? But they're actually they're being operated by camera operators, like in a different room. Like they have 3 PTZ cameras, like full cinema cameras, but like they're fully they're fully manual at the same time. And the other thing too, my friend Spencer brought up the other day, Church Video School. You guys can check out his YouTube channel. We're talking about this because people like argue about this in Facebook chats and stuff. Is realistically, if you're gonna try to video switch and run a joystick to like pan, tilt, zoom, like it's just more, I think that takes more work than people realize to like do that, at least do that well. So I would say don't think you need to have the ability, because I feel like with 3 cameras at a minimum, you can cover all your bases for a typical church venue. Have a follow shot, have a wide shot. The wide shot could be in the back of the room, get the whole stage or whatever, and the room, and then have maybe a shot that's kind of like a perspective on the side of the stage, and then maybe have a drum cam to go the next option, then have like a piano keys cam, and then you'll be surprised that having all these angles, especially if you're like cutting for music, for worship music, like I feel like you can keep it pretty visually dynamic if you just have more angles to work with, and you can just kind of start bouncing between them, and you don't even need that much movement. And then if I were to introduce another camera operator, it would be probably someone floating around close to the front of the stage, off to one of the sides, and they can just have like maybe a 70 to 200 or a 24 to 105, and they kind of can zoom around to different people. So that would be my approach to go about doing that. So, and I just think remote control pan, tilt, zooming in most cases is not necessary. And it just looks cheesy. I don't know. Like when you see a shot, like it's just like zooming in or stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like when I'm watching that live stream, I feel like I'm a creeper looking on a security camera or something like that. So I don't know.
Here's another question just kind of came up. What do you guys feel about fade times? Like,
okay, so I started thinking about this. And actually, no, Jimmy, we got the feedback on our last show. I talk too much, so I'm gonna let one of you guys talk.
No, you know what you're talking about right here. I don't.
You did
fade times. I'm thinking 3 seconds.
So
like,
like camera fade times. Like I was thinking about this because I've been more at Mission Lakewood, spending time in the tech booth lately, and I think ours is a 1 second for a fade time. And then I actually did a little poll on Instagram stories a few weeks ago that asked like, hey, fade or cut, what do you do when you're transitioning between cameras? And people kind of had different answers. And I think cut was more popular, just do like a hard cut. We really generally do hard cuts between, like during songs and stuff, we just do a hard cut. We don't crossfade. And again, because like it just kind of feels like the 90s or something when you would see too many like crossfade transitions. So what I'll do, at least during our sermon, if I'm bouncing between 2 live action cameras of the pastor, like a tight and a wide camera, I'll do a hard cut. But then when I like bring in like a Pro Presenter feed, like we just use like a full screen Pro Presenter slide, I'll fade in that because I feel like it's like less jarring for the viewer. So Pro Presenter graphics will be faded in, faded out, and then live action cameras I cut. And then usually those fades are, I think 1 second is what we have it set to in the ATEM. I don't think I ever even changed the timing on that. I think that was the default.
Yeah. I just saw
like
some
that.
slower fade times and it looks super cheesy. What were you gonna say, Jimmy?
I was gonna say, hey, that sounds good to me. But I agree. When I see those fade times, like you were just saying, it does look a little cheesy. I like the cuts. For sure.
Like it sounds like there should be like an electric piano playing in the background and like, I don't know. I could
Some
just hear
laser.
that. What's that?
Some laser background.
Yeah, something like that. So, oh man, dude, what was the other? Was there another post that we had that I wanted to bring up today? Yes, there is. I have it. I'm gonna pull it up right here. So this is a question I gave, and I would love to just hear. If you're watching the live stream on YouTube, share in the comments, or if you're listening to the podcast, you can find this post in our Facebook group. But the question is, where are my playback in Prime Power users? People who are using playback or Prime for full automation every week for lyrics, lighting, video switching, etc. Share your setups and workflows below. Note that these apps have, now that these apps have had MIDI out capability for over a year. I want to see who's like really leaned into it and how it's working out. I'm still really strongly pro Ableton using that because I just really prefer the UI of it, having a full DAW to work with and the control that comes with it. And then things like, you can't run Dante from an iPad app, and the way that Audinate works with their updates, we probably will by the year 2100. I think they'll probably have that integration, but not anytime soon. So I guess I think these apps obviously they're more user friendly. I think the biggest benefit is if you're jumping around your worship service set like crazy, they're definitely better for that. But I just want to know, now that it's been like a year that these apps have been out, like how many power users there are with them. So I had a couple people so far. I posted this yesterday, and only a couple replies here. We've got Josh. He said, been running full automation with lyrics and lights for the past 4 weeks and loving it. Almost no hiccups. So overall, really good experience that he's been having just for lyrics and lighting. They already had a full arsenal of songs in Prime, so they didn't want to have to upgrade to like the full multi-tracks and stuff like that. And I think, by the way, if you wanted to do that, I think you'd have to like contact the team at Loop Community to like upgrade Prime tracks to full tracks that you can actually download your own stems and throw those into Ableton. The one thing that's tough is it takes forever to set up a song with MIDI cues in Prime, which I would agree with that. Like, you have to working on an iPad to me is like the most inefficient way to get work done. Like tapping on things and scrolling through things is really, really hard to work quickly. And that's like a key thing I love about Ableton is the efficiency of that setup. The great thing is once I set up a song, it's good to go, which is true. I have Bassist run it. And while I want to switch to Ableton, I don't think it would be worth to save me time, basically rebuy our whole song library. So again, this is kind of like, you don't have to rebuy the whole thing. You just got to upgrade it basically. And here's one of my beefs with like the going the Prime track or playback track route is you really kind of start locking yourself into a particular ecosystem, because these apps are great and I love them. But at the same time, it could potentially work against you in the long run. Let's say you buy all Prime tracks like Josh does. Well, what if playback comes up with an update that's like genuinely much better than Prime? And if you want to switch, it's like, well, you're definitely not transferring Prime tracks into playback. You literally can't do that because you don't have any access to the audio stems at all. So that's kind of one of my biggest beefs going that route. You're just really locking yourself into these ecosystems. And then he said, only downside we've seen is sometimes sending multiple MIDI keys at the same time out of Prime. It sometimes sends the wrong key to Pro Presenter. So that's an interesting one. He's still figuring out. And then we had one more power user here. Isaac, using Prime to automate lyrics and lighting every Sunday morning, running it off a Mac Mini. I do like how Prime it can run off a Mac OS versus Playback cannot. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else that jumped out here. I think he's having a pretty overall positive experience. And then that's about it.
What does
this guy,
Jimmy use?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Jimmy.
Yeah, so we don't automate anything, and we're just on Ableton. It's crazy because of COVID. We've actually been outdoors this whole past year, and we just this year have come back indoor. And so when we were outdoor, I wasn't even using in-ears or anything. It was just kind of a super simple setup. And so we're actually looking forward to coming back indoors because we got this new sound system. We got it, and then we weren't able to use it. But yeah, so we don't have any automation, and we just use Ableton. Getting back into Ableton, just using cues and click.
Yep. Do you like?
Yeah.
So Ableton just for tracks, click, cues. Are you running them in session view or arrangement view?
Well, so we're just I actually had a meeting about that last night. So my experience with Ableton was very limited. I did session view, and we just had songs in there. But earlier on in the pandemic, we had some online stuff that we recorded, and I learned how to do arrangement views so I could like fade in and out and all that stuff. And I'm definitely not an Ableton. I'm very new to Ableton. So I got another guy who we had a meeting about that last night about, hey, what are you going to do? Because he's going to start building our tracks and stuff, putting that stuff together. And yeah, arrangement view.
We interrupt this program from a word from our sponsors. Worship Ministry School. Look at it here. We've got lead worship with Ableton. How to use a click in tracks. It's a full program that can walk people like Jimmy through how to use Ableton the effective way when they're leading worship. So no, but seriously, all you guys should check this out. That's another reason to join Worship Ministry School. I go through everything here. So we've got introductory stuff. We've got gear and software overview. We talk about in-ear monitoring, make sure you get that good, how to get audio from Ableton to your sound system. And then we go through the whole workflow of just knowing the software, building individual song sets. I'm a big arrangement view advocate. I think again, to me, I just like seeing everything in one timeline. It just kind of helps with like cross-fading between songs. Jumping around songs, like I think it just makes it a bit easier to do that. So we do all of that fun stuff. So these courses here, lots of screen sharing here. And now with Ableton 11 coming out soon, Adam, we're going to work on updating this soon. So I don't think Ableton 11 is out yet. I think you can buy it or get the upgrade for it, but when it does come out. But yeah, guys, lead worship with Ableton. It's kind of a two-part course. That's the click and tracks section here. And then we've got the advanced automation course as well. So that's where we talk about automating lights, lyrics, video camera switching, you name it. So sorry, I just had to interrupt our program with that.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something I've actually put some thought into. So, maybe we'll move forward on that, and then I'll come back on here and tell everybody how good it was.
It sounds like Jimmy needs to schedule a free strategy session right now.
That's
Next up, I'll show you how to schedule a free strategy session at Worship Ministry School. No, but seriously, guys, like we've helped like so many people get up and running with Ableton, and it's been a blast. But oh man, well that was So I would love to hear from you guys, the folks who are like power users with Prime and Playback. Let me know how it's going, how it's working out for you. Whether that's in the show us your setup in the Churchfront Facebook group, or even let us know here below in the comments. So, okie dokie. I'd say it is time for the next segment of the show, because what are we going on? 48 minutes already. Oh, I think we got another 15 minutes for the next segment of the show, and we are going to go talk about new gear time. And I hate to do this, guys. I made the mistake of filling this up, and I pretty much drank the whole thing, and I need to take a quick potty break, like pretty badly. So I'm gonna let you take the lead, Adam, and go ahead and show us like what you got lined up for us here with new gear recommendations. I'll be back in like a minute.
Right on. I was thinking it. I was just holding it. So let's dig in. Yeah. So we were looking at these things. I just noticed that over the last, I don't know, last 9 months, 6 months, everyone's come out with their own version of the SM7B because everyone is working from home. Everyone is live streaming. Everybody wants that awesome audio quality on their Zoom calls and their work calls and even doing worship ministry from home. So everyone came out with their own SM7 wannabe. Even Shure came out with their SM7 wannabe. They came out with a cheaper USB version of their microphone. But let's check out some other options that people have put out. We got this Presonus one, the Presonus Pd70. If any of you guys in the comments here have used any of these mics, let us know what they sound like. But you can see the build is just like basically an SM7B. This one is XLR. I don't know. I watched this review video, but it had music underneath of it, so it wasn't like that helpful because I couldn't hear the mic on its own. Maybe we'll have to talk to Sweetwater and see if they want to send us one for a review or something. But I don't know, Jimmy, have you heard of any of these things before? Outside of the SM7B?
I'm learning. No, this is all new to me. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah,
if they sound
what
good.
are you using? Because you have a
Blue
USB
Yeti.
microphone, right? Yeah, Blue Yeti.
It's the Blue Yeti Nano, yeah.
That one's
I'm
been out
back.
for a while.
I'm back, by the way.
Yeah.
Sweet, welcome back.
I definitely
We were
was
just
sufficiently
talking
hydrated. All right.
Good. Yeah, I just was telling everyone, hey, everyone came out with their own version of the SM7B,
Yeah.
and
Let's undercut,
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, and this one is $130, so it's like a quarter of the price of an SM7B once you include the cloud lifter. I'm interested if any of these need a cloud lifter, if they're just like built so you can probably plug it right in. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, they probably don't.
I was telling-
Those things are cheaper than the cloud lifter. I think
Yeah.
a cloud lifter is $130.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see one in real life. I was telling people this review video actually has music underneath of playing underneath of Mitch Gallagher's sweet radio voice.
Nice.
So it's hard to tell exactly what it sounds like, but it sounded pretty good there.
Did you know I met Mitch Gallagher?
I know. I'm jealous.
Yep. Back in the day. We're actually Chipper is working on the Sweetwater tour video right now. It's going to be coming out here in a couple weeks, so pretty excited about it.
It's nice.
Look at Luke Jackson throwing shade in the YouTube comments.
Oh, jeez.
No. It's a very big water bottle, Luke. So Samson and Presonus kind of have their own.
Yeah, but I would say Samson came out with an RE20 wannabe. This is more. This looks and is supposed to replicate and Earthworks. Is that who makes it? Earthworks? RE20? Electro Voice, something with an E. Yeah,
oh,
so
Electro
this is
Voice.
supposed
Okay.
to be like this is like the original radio mic. Like I've been in radio stations and it's just like here's what they've got.
Yep.
Like the original classic. So it's supposed to be more like that. But this one is also XLR, but has USB-C on it. So I'm guessing you can plug it in. It's got a headphone jack on it. So I think this is supposed to more just be like you could plug this right into your computer and plug your headphones into it. It's a little bit more, $200.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. plug and
Well,
play.
yeah, I think those are great. I mean, for all the podcasting we're doing, but even for like, I mean, it would work fine for if you just maybe want if you're doing like these kind of smaller, what do I want to call it? These smaller kind of intimate acoustic worship sessions or whatever. These mics work great. The reason why these dynamic cardioid mics work well is they really reject other sound from the room really well. So when you're doing a multi-track recording, it's just very clean. That's why it makes sense to use one of these types of mics. So, Earthworks has a new mic too. Nice.
Yeah, this one, I don't remember where I saw this. I saw this one like on a YouTube video, and I heard it, and it was just incredible. Like, yeah, I was watching a YouTuber.
Well, I mean, Earthworks, I can't believe they make a mic that's less than like a gazillion dollars. Like, I feel like all their mics are like ridiculously expensive. $500 for Earthworks seems pretty reasonable.
And this one's really small, and you can see it's like here is like the classic Earthworks like look capsule thing here, and then they have this windscreen, and I think that's the key. Like, I just recorded vocals for my worship team. Like, this girl came and like recorded her vocals, and I just put a 58 up for her, and you get the pops, and so being able to have something with the windscreen, it makes a big difference for that. Like, you're talking intimate worship recording kind of stuff. So I'm guessing that, Jimmy, it sounds like you didn't do any kind of pre-record where you would need any of these kind of tools.
No, we did early on. We recorded just a little bit, and I think we did the I'm trying to remember the mic. It's closely, what was the mic that came out, the Shure mic that came out before the SM7B? Was it just like the SM7 or something? I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it's just like a blue handle. It just looks like a SM57, but
is it an SM Beta 58?
It could be. I'd need to see a picture. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it sounded pretty good. I actually have a little there's a video on my YouTube channel. You can hear the quality.
Nice.
I can't remember. Yeah, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a really awesome friend who works at Shure, and he gave me a deal on the Beta 58 and this SM7B that I'm using.
I just ordered ordered 2 more SM7Bs like this, so we'll have 3 in the studio total. And I got those Gatorworks boom arm stands for our new podcast table that we're gonna have here pretty soon. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But we're making progress, man.
Looking space.
Yeah, we're making progress. I got a ton of gear coming in today. Actually right here is my SQ5. I finally got that out of the box yesterday. And I put a Dante card in it. And then behind me is kind of going to be our like worship band set up in this room. And like, that's going to be where we'll have, my vision is to have artists come by and like share songs and stuff. So like next week, I'm hoping to have some of the guys from Red Rocks Worship. By the way, they have a great new song called Echo Holy. Check it out, guys. It could be a great one for you to lead at your church. But having them come by, we can do a cool song story, recording type video, and make that all happen here behind me. So hopefully today, I got B&H and Sweetwater sending boxes. If any of you guys ever wondered where does all the money that goes to Churchfront go, it goes straight to Sweetwater and B&H. That's it. It's like, oh my gosh, the amount of money it takes to outfit a studio this is insane. But
did you pick up these things, the T8s? I
picked up, yeah, dude. So that's one of another new gear recommendation I'm excited about. So these are the Quasar Science line of LED tube lights that are really, really awesome looking. Adam, just go search on YouTube Quasar Science and like pull up a video so people can kind of see like an example. It's pretty. I think this would work great for a lot of churches right now looking for stage design ideas. They do have set up. So yeah, right there. That's good. Just that shot of that guy's fine. You can see these lights behind him. They produce an amazing color. So they make multiple versions of Quasar Science bulb. They've got the RGB. They've got bicolor, so it just goes from cool to warm. And then they've also got the plain white. So I kind of wanted something. I actually got some of the Quasar Science bulbs to go, like, I'm going to use them kind of as backlight. Lately, I've kind of liked the idea. I kind of like the look of kind of white, cool backlight. I think it just looks really nice and clean. And so I think I got 3 of the $75 bulbs that I'll put in the back wall here. And I didn't get the RGB because they're like all out of stock right now. So I was kind of bummed. But what's great too is they're DMX controllable. So my vision is to have, kind of like a mock mini worship stage set up here. And part of it will be having like full lighting control. So I'll get some spotlights for front lighting. I'll get more of those RGB DMX controllable tube lights. And then we can go ahead and have, like I said, kind of have like a mock worship stage set up and do a full thing, like run the lights with light key or something like that. So pretty excited about those. So if you guys are looking for some cool stage design lighting solutions, definitely check out the Quasar Science ones there. Or if you're a YouTuber, Jimmy, if you want some cool lighting.
Yeah. I'm going to put some right back here.
That would look dope, dude.
Right behind just right behind the neck of my guitar in this bookshelf.
Yeah, there you go. And then the only other thing, Adam, I had, if you want to pull it up, was the that Gooseneck microphone. Rob Sharp recommended that in our Facebook group. It was Adam's screen right here. Just like is on stage XLR microphone. You plug it right into like the talkback on your X32. And Rob's like, hey, this is so much better than having like a regular, handheld dynamic microphone because it's, you got a cable, it's kind of messy. It's like, it's just there and you just can talk into it. So thanks for that recommendation, Rob, for throwing that in the Facebook group. I love when you guys throw stuff in the Facebook group, then we can kind of feature that on the show and tell everybody else about it too. So I think that's it for our new gear this week. Yeah.
Oh, the headphones.
Oh, the Steven Slate headphones. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so I found these. It's like it replicates rooms that you can mix in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you want to hear what it sounds like in probably Abbey Road, I'm guessing they have that space, or like in a nightclub. It's just like it must change the EQ and compression and reverb using an application on your computer as you're mixing, so you can use headphones. Yeah, here it says these different studios, what it's like to be in a car stereo or an SUV stereo. So instead of like, I know that I used to do this where I would take my mixes to like put it on my phone and then like open it up in my car or like play it back on a boombox or listen to headphones. Instead of like having to export your mix and take it a bunch of different places, you can just like throw these headphones on and hit different buttons of what's it like in an audiophile listening room for the 2 people that are going to listen to it in that environment. No, but it's really good to check your mixes in different spaces. And even as this can relate to live streaming, I wondered if anyone else that we know of would use this kind of thing in their church live stream, because people are listening on their phones, people are listening on their car stereos maybe, or their TVs at home. You can't just mix for the, studio monitors on your desk. You gotta mix for everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome little tool there. Shout out to Oscar for leaving a little tip there in the top chat. Appreciate that, Oscar. And he had an idea, best practice for like how to cut videos during services. I think that's a great idea. Maybe we could have Chad Vegas come on the show. We could talk about that. I've been kind of reaching out to some guys too who would want to join us. We could dive deep into that type of thing, or just make a separate YouTube video for it. So, well, great guys. I would say we're going on about an hour. That's a good time to kind of wrap up the show today. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been great to get to know you a little bit more. I look forward to some future collaborations. We'll talk about, hopefully we can get you out here to Colorado in the near future or something. We'll see. Or maybe I need to come out there, meet up with you. And is Chad close to you? Are you guys like in the same city?
No, he's in South Carolina. I think about
Oh.
3-4 hours away. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot closer than me, but I don't know. We could.
Yeah, he could.
All you guys in the Carolinas. You got Chad, you've got Brian, worship tutorials. So I guess I'll have to go back out. Well, you're in Raleigh, right? You're right next to Brian then.
I was gonna say we're real close, and I've never even met him, so I need to reach out to him.
Yeah, for sure. So he's a great guy. It'd be fun. We could all hang out and do some videos together. So because he's got a new studio. So yeah, I don't know. We'll make something happen. Would be a lot of fun. So yeah, go ahead. Tell folks where to go to follow your stuff and keep up to date.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been an honor. HeyWorshipLeader.com, YouTube /HeyWorshipLeader, Instagram HeyWorshipLeader. Pretty easy.
Awesome.
So yeah, those are my 3 places.
Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, or you also subscribe to the podcast if you're listening to that. And yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, by the way, we're just trying this new format, throwing this in audio form for those of you who are on commutes and stuff like that. And we'll probably have other, solo podcast episodes and stuff like that as well there. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not on the podcast, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's all there. Go check out worshipministryschool.com. Schedule a free strategy session today, and all the links to things we talked about in the show will be down below in the description. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. Keep up the great work in your ministries, and we will see you next time.